Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly brilliant framework from ancient India, Dvaita epistemology. If you've ever stopped and wondered exactly how your brain decides what's true, or maybe more importantly, why you ever experienced doubt in the first place, well, you're absolutely in the right place. We're going to explore a fascinating system for understanding exactly how we know what we know, and then we're going to completely dismantle the psychology of doubt.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, the focus on the individual, then the pillars of knowledge, followed by the mechanics of doubt, the triggers of doubt, and we'll wrap it all up with Jayatirtha's genius simplification.
So, let's kick things off with Section 1, the focus on the individual. Now, the broad Dvaita worldview is incredibly practical. It actually rejects abstract universals entirely and is obsessed with defining specific individual things in the real world. Imagine you're walking into a massive village and someone tells you to go find Devadatta's house. Well, if every house looks relatively the same, you're going to be completely lost, right? But if they add a unique attribute and say, hey, Devadatta's house has a yellow flag on top, suddenly that flag acts as the ultimate identifier. You aren't looking for the abstract concept of a house anymore. You are looking for a unique, defining attribute.
So, you might be wondering, how do we recognize things if there are no abstract categories? Like, if there's no universal cowness floating around out there in the universe, how on earth do you know a cow when you see one? Well, the framework relies on similarity, or sadrisha. We basically define one specific individual as our standard, and then our brains recognize other things in the world simply because they're similar to that original individual. It's just a very direct, practical way of interacting with reality.
Moving right along, let's get into Section 2, the pillars of knowledge. All right, so we know we're looking for specific individuals, but how do we actually process and validate that knowledge? To get it right, we need yathartham, which translates to valid or right knowledge. And the Sanskrit etymology breaks this down so beautifully. Yatha means not going beyond the actual characteristics, and artha means the object of inquiry. It's literally like a precise mathematical equation for truth. You capture the object exactly where it is, exactly when it is, without exceeding it or accidentally straying into other objects. And that brings us to the whole shebang, the three foundational pillars. To have perfect reality-matching cognition, you basically need three things. First, the pramata, which is the knower or the subject. So that's you, the user of the knowledge. Then you have the prameyam, which is the object or the item you're looking at. And finally, prama, the valid knowledge itself. When these three line up perfectly, boom, you have accurate cognition. But what happens when the system misfires?
That question brings us to Section 3, the mechanics of doubt.
Enter the primary villain of our explainer, the obstacle of doubt. The text defines samshaya as anavadharanam jnanam, which means unsettled or indecisive knowledge. Now, the absolutely crucial point here is the emphasis on the word knowledge. Doubt isn't just an unsettled physical object. I mean, a rock rolling down a hill is unsettled, but it definitely isn't experiencing doubt. By specifying knowledge, we clarify that doubt is a highly specific, unsettled mental state. It's literally a cognitive glitch.
Which leads us to our whodunit investigation in Section 4, the triggers of doubt.
Okay, so what specific logical triggers actually cause this mental misfire? Why do we ever feel unsure? Historically, Indian logicians believe there were 5 specific suspects that caused doubt when you were missing a deciding factor. Those are a common quality, a unique quality, conflicting views among experts, perception, and non-perception. Let's set these historical suspects up so we can start dismantling them, starting with perception.
Let's test this out. Say you dig a well and you find water. You perceive it, right? But you might doubt, wait, was the water already there or did my digging actually create it? Take case A. You bring a lamp into a dark room and you perceive a pot that was already sitting there. Now compare that to case B. A potter shapes clay and you perceive a newly created pot. The actual act of perceiving happens in both of those cases. Mere perception is really just a shared trait of both pre-existence and new creation. It isn't an independent cause of doubt at all. It's just the common quality. So we can safely eliminate suspect number 4.
And you know what? The exact same logic applies to non-perception. Say you hear a rumor that a ghost lives in a tree. You go there, look around, and you see absolutely nothing. Does the ghost exist, but you just can't see it? Or is it a total fake? Think about case A. God is existent, but hidden from our physical senses. Versus case B, a rabbit's horn, which is completely non-existent. In both of those cases, you experience non-perception. This brilliantly illustrates that not seeing something is also just a common trait shared by both hidden realities and total fakes. So we can cross off suspect number 5 too.
Now for the grand finale, Section 5, Jayatirtha's Genius Simplification. Get ready, because this is the philosophical mic drop of the explainer. Sri Jayatirtha steps in and completely solves the entire mystery of doubt. With just an incredible stroke of logic, he mathematically collapses all of those remaining causes. He looks at unique qualities, he looks at the conflicting views of experts, and he proves they aren't independent triggers either. He reduces the whole thing down to exactly one mastermind trigger.
And that single mastermind trigger is sadharana dharma, the common quality. So the core thesis here, and this is absolutely crucial, is that every single doubt we experience in our lives ultimately boils down to seeing a trait that belongs to more than one possibility. Even when experts disagree, the common quality is literally just the fact that the subject is something people have different opinions about. It all leads right back to this single fundamental source.
Let's walk through how this actually plays out in our everyday lives with a super practical 1, 2, 3 psychological checklist. Step 1, you see a common trait. Let's say you see something tall off in the fog. Step 2, you remember 2 options. Stumps are tall, sure, but men are also tall. Step 3, you miss the decider. You can't see hands and you can't see branches. Boom, you have doubt. It is beautifully, frustratingly simple. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. If doubt is really just missing the decider, what specific flag are you missing right now to find your own valid knowledge? Think back to Devadatta's house at the very beginning. What is the unique attribute that you need to look for? I challenge you to apply this ancient framework to your modern life the next time you feel stuck or unsure. Find the decider, eliminate the common quality, and secure your knowledge. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep exploring.